Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 927 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Pyles, joined today by Ben Funky Askren, JD Rader, Shane Sparks, Mr. Big Ten, and we got quite a show lined up because we promised we will deliver on the Vision Quest breakdown. But first, we got a lot of wrestling to get into. We got Shoot Talk. Look at this Shoot shirt from Ben
baby.
Where can you get a Shoot shirt? Where can someone get a Shoot shirt?
Oh my gosh. I made dang it all. Sometimes I leave my phone upstairs, but usually it's not an issue. Today it is an issue because I made notes as I was going through the movie.
Go get
about stuff I wanted to bring up. I might have to leave and go get it.
Okay, before we go, I'll give you like 30 seconds to run. I don't know. You probably have a big house. It could be 4 minutes away for all we know. Ben.
Stop.
But we'll give you time to get your phone because I want you to have your notes. Let me see. How many words do I have on this?
You made notes also?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing a word count here. Hold on.
We shouldn't talk about it because I'm about to ready to go off on it.
Yeah, I got 664 words. No, we can't start with it. We got to start with Cody Chittum to Iowa State.
Oh my God.
This is insane.
What in the world?
So, what in the world?
Can I ask you one question before you start, Christian?
I can't stop you.
Is this possible that he just did a Sion and just went to Ames and he thought it was Iowa City and he just said, I'm staying? Is that possible?
It's possible.
It's possible. Yeah, he did the anti-Sion because Sion just stayed. He just went to Iowa State. He thought he was going to Iowa. He's like, close enough. I'm just going to go ahead and stay here. So,
Greatest
Cody,
story
perhaps,
of all time.
But Cody spent the better part of a year there. So we'll start with that. I don't think this is a reverse Sioning, though can't be ruled out. So the most interesting thing, there's a couple really interesting things about it. One is that Cody had never signed with Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something I would have expected.
Weird.
That's very weird. There were multiple
Why not?
periods. That's the question. Why did he not sign? Was Iowa cooler on him than maybe we realized? Would he not sign? Was the deal not what they wanted? Because that doesn't make sense that you would have a recruit. He's been at Iowa. I mean, the kid seemed like it was all in. I mean, he moved to Iowa City, been training with the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, and he hasn't signed because otherwise it would be a different sort of process for him to go to Iowa State. But since he was totally unsigned, he could just sign the Iowa State NLI, and boom, he's a Cyclone just like that. That's the first thing that doesn't make sense.
Could it all be potentially NIL money or something? So, like, because if it's NIL money, then there is no national letter of intent because you can't sign a national letter of intent for that. Is that a possibility?
That is a possibility, but that's not the reality with Cody.
Okay.
He wants the plan was a scholarship, right?
Well,
and maybe some NIL
really
on top of that, but for sure there was a scholarship component there that wasn't addressed by Cody or by the Iowa staff that let him be able to just pack up his stuff and leave. And it's not some, I don't know. There's sort of a weird dynamic with the Iowa fans. I try to avoid the Hawkeye Report for the most part, but I dipped my toe in. I said, what did these guys say?
What did they say?
They turn fast. And
what do you mean?
The most ironic, Cody was going to be the guy, and now that he's gone, it's like, oh, now Cody Chittum's high maintenance. It's like, really? Cody Chittum's high maintenance? Like, that's not.
Did they bring up facts, or are they just making accusations? Are there facts?
I'm trying to talk, but you just listen. So, like,
okay,
they're saying this guy's high maintenance, right? Okay, well, first of all, in my few interactions with Cody, he's nothing but the most respectful, polite kid. He fits in great with the Iowa. The team loved him. So one, that just doesn't seem to be reality. Two, high maintenance at best. At best, the Ferraris could be described as high maintenance, right? And they're actively recruiting. Anthony Ferrari is committed there. They want Angelo Ferrari. At best case scenario, the Ferraris are just high maintenance. At worst, they've been convicted of crimes and are standing trial for other crimes. So that is a far more high maintenance situation. I don't think this can be characterized as anything other than an L for Iowa. This is bad. Cody Chittum is good at wrestling. He was going to be their starting 57-pounder by all intents. That was why hey, you moved to Iowa City, you train with the Hawkeye Wrestling Club for a year, you'll be ready to go. Kobe Seabrecht goes down to 149. Seamless transition, and you got a hand-fighting machine on your team for 4 years, maybe 5. And now he's gone. That's bad. I just can't. I don't think you can spin this anything as a negative. And then he goes to your number one rival, Iowa State, who absolutely could use him at 157. Now he slots in perfectly between Pinheiro and David Carr. I think Iowa on paper is still probably the favorite in that dual meet, but it just got a lot more interesting and a lot closer with Cody going from Iowa to Iowa State. So I don't know how this got ultimately messed up, but
I know how it messed up. I read the article. Did you read Cody Goodwin's article?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, we do know.
He literally said the sentences, "I will not be in Iowa City with the Ferraris." Yeah. But you also never provided me factual proof that Cody Chittum's high maintenance, or the Hawkeye fans did not. Message boards. I read the Wisconsin message boards sometimes. They're pretty wild sometimes. It's like the most homerism of all homerism that you've ever seen. Like a wrestler will lose in the NCAAs and they'll be like, well, that's awesome. Their backside path is better. More bonus possibly. And you're like, wait.
That's just true.
I don't think we're supposed to be this happy about losses, but whatever. So the Hawk, the in-state
message boards should be treated as entertainment, not sources of information or...
Correct. Yeah, that's totally true. So Chittum, by all intents and purposes, seems like he's the real deal. He was in the finals at the senior level. Bill Farrell this year,
placed
the
in a rankings tournament.
Obviously, they've been multiple places now, right? They've been at Blair, and that one didn't work out. They were at Oklahoma State, and that one didn't work out. And so to stake all this recruiting, now obviously the argument you can make is it's 3 Ferraris versus 1 Chittum. I see that argument for sure, but at the same time, there's no guarantee. There was already a guarantee of the Chittums, right, or Chittum. There's no guarantee of the Ferraris. And even if they do get there to Iowa City, there's no guarantee they're going to stay around for all that long.
Yeah, I mean, it's one guaranteed Chittum versus potentially 0 Ferraris, potentially 3. And that can be spun as a positive for sure because they're good at wrestling. But there's another side to that coin, which has been revealed and as at the previous stops has been as mentioned. So yeah, Cody came out and said it's the Ferrari dynamic. And I think Tom has the ability to assess, risk and take a chance and weigh the pros and cons. And maybe he just says, hey, listen, I don't think it's a secret or a surprise to the staff of where Cody lands on the Ferrari dynamic. And Tom says, hey, yeah, I'll roll the dice that he might leave. But if we can get all the Ferraris, then maybe he's running that calculus in his head and says it would be worth it.
Yeah. Man, that's a tough sell for me. It's a really tough sell because, like I said, they tried going to Blair and that didn't last very long, and Oklahoma State, same thing. So even if they do end up in Iowa City, the notion that they're going to spend, from right now to when Angelo is done is what, 6 years. I find that one hard to believe.
Yeah.
How many high schools was AJ at? 3?
Allen, Bergen, Blair.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Bergen?
Yeah.
That's where he ended, I think. Did he end at Bergen?
I think he moved back to Allen. He moved back to Allen.
All right.
It was like Allen, Blair, Bergen, Allen.
Oh, I don't remember him being at Bergen. That's interesting.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was like a semester at most.
Yeah. And then the other question I posed to you guys last time we were talking about this topic was if AJ hasn't been doing classes, he's going to be way far behind on the eligibility requirements. And, no one really knew if he was in classes enrolled anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. The educational habits of one AJ Ferrari. But Iowa did pick up Victor Voinovich at 149, so Seabrecht's going to stay there. Shane, did you welcome Victor Voinovich to the Big Ten, the nation's premier wrestling? It's your favorite thing.
I did. You do that. And I was bummed out because Chittum's gone. So I got to come up with something where I, wish the guys that leave the Big Ten the best in their future endeavors.
Yeah, I don't think you do that. I think you get salty when they leave the Big Ten because it's like, oh man.
I got to be honest, I'm disappointed. I am. I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, I love the Big Ten, and Chittum leaving the Big Ten, that's a bummer. But What a big move for Iowa State. I mean, and you bring up a really good point, Christian, to start this whole thing off. And that's why I was so confused. I'm like, he says he's leaving, like, okay. And then the next day he's a cyclone. Like, I was like, how did that work? But then
Iowa City names aren't far apart.
What's that?
Ames and Iowa City aren't far apart.
No, but from the standpoint of, if he had signed there, I'm sure it's a different process, right? I mean,
yes,
literally say you're leaving and then sign a couple days later. I don't ever remember a scenario like that before.
Hey, they could definitely win this duel. I just clicked on the whiteboard where they could absolutely win. They're the strong favorites at 97, 65, 57 in my opinion, but I know you guys might push back on that one. 49 and 25 and 33, they're coin flips, I would say.
Yeah, the question is heavyweight. They're probably getting pinned there, right? As of right now. Who's Iowa State throw out there?
I don't even know the guy you have on the list.
Also, don't forget, before we get into the duel, there are more Chittums and Boom Ranch kids that are pretty good, such as like Cooper Hilton that are be coming down the line.
Sure. That's
so
true.
you think, it's just Cody Chittum, but you could be ruining a potential relationship that could provide benefits, such as, a la multiple Ferraris, you could be getting multiple Boom Ranch kids that might have just thrown away.
Do you want a ranch or do you want a Ferrari? These are the tough questions. These are the decisions of millionaires.
I like that.
I don't know.
Yeah. This will be an interesting thing to talk about in 5 years, right? It's like a draft. It's like, you find out how a draft is 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting in November.
The story I heard about why they butted heads at Blair too, and I don't, it's like you don't want to put too much stock in rumors, but if Cody Chittum went and said that to Tom Brands, and there's some verification of the truth there, and given the fact that the Ferraris were forced out of Blair, I gotta think like there's a chance it's true. Like, man, that's a tough pill for Tom Brands to swallow.
For sure, and the team seemed reportedly loved Cody, gonna miss him, not happy that he's gone, but we're, helping him pack up to leave. So it was good relationships with the team. But he's gone, and yeah, we'll revisit it in 5 years, but I think in December we'll know a lot because we'll have probably some clarity on AJ's situation and where he winds up. I would assume at that point in time Angelo will have made his decision, and then we'll see how Cody's doing at Iowa State. So we may get a quick return on which bet paid off for Iowa.
Are there any other heavyweights in the portal?
Josh Heinzelman is in the portal.
Yeah.
Juan Mora is in the portal.
Juan Mora's he's all right.
He's all right.
All right.
Boone McDermott in the portal.
He was considering Iowa State at one point is what I heard.
Former Iowa
That'd
resident.
be a good get for Iowa State if they could get him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the best, quote unquote, the best available.
Him or Heinzelman, I would say.
Okay.
Pretty close. Shane will side with the former Big Ten wrestler, obviously.
Contractually.
Yeah,
Boone McDermott, I think he's been a junior college national champ.
Yeah.
And he's an Iowa kid. I think he's an Iowa kid, right? Wahlert? Is he from Dubuque Wahlert?
Was he? I think he was actually.
He's from Oklahoma originally.
Ooh, I think
pretty sure he's from
I'm
Oklahoma
going
and
off
went
of memory.
to JUCO.
Dubuque Wahlert High School. I could be wrong.
Boone McDermott sounds super Oklahoma to me.
So here's what I do remember
from
him
Dubuque,
wrestling.
Iowa.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember him wrestling on the Iowa Junior Duels team, but I didn't know Iowa and Oklahoma State both seem to have these guys who commit to college and then move there and they do a year there. So then, right, the kid is wrestling for that dual team or that Fargo team.
I don't think Iowa Central is quite on that plan. They might be though.
That is true.
Okay. Also, in bad news for both teams potentially, this gambling thing with Iowa and Iowa State.
What's this? I don't know about this.
You don't know about this?
Never heard about it.
So there's gambling investigations for basically the entire athletic departments for Iowa and Iowa State.
For both schools?
They're reporting 26 athletes from Iowa and 15 from Iowa State.
Yes. And
why is this tied together? Is there a reason these are tied together?
The Iowa, whatever
Gaming.
criminal,
Division of Criminal Investigation.
There you go. DCI is involved. So that's why both Iowa and Iowa State are getting looped in, because it's the same investigation, but they found student athletes from both Iowa and Iowa State. It's assumed were just online gambling. As of right now, there's no suspicion that they used inside info or anything or bet on their own teams, but that could be true. It has the investigation has not been completed
The
yet.
fact that NCAA athletes can't gamble is perplexingly stupid. I mean, I can understand they shouldn't be able to gamble on their own events or maybe even their own sports or maybe even their own school, right? You could like make parameters that would be obvious, but that they can't gamble at all. It's like, dude, they're 18. Like, why can't they gamble? This is ridiculous.
But don't you think that's just opening up? Like, why would you even want to go down that?
Who cares? They're adults. What's wrong with gambling?
Yeah, but I
gamble. Should I tell you can't gamble?
No, but
Why?
I think
You're
when
a Big
you,
Ten reporter, you might.
I
have
think when you're an
information.
NCAA, I think when you're an NCAA athlete,
Why is it different to being a different?
I just think it's too dangerous. I think it's just too
How's it dangerous?
Because I think it leads to a higher probability of you gambling in your own sport.
No, you make rules against that. And
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
I think
No.
they're I don't think anybody's missing anything not having college
well, then
kids.
why don't we just ban gambling altogether since no one's missing anything?
I'm just saying for college kids, I'm okay with them not
But
being
other
able to-
college kids can gamble. Other
Yeah,
kids,
but they're not athletes. I mean,
And what's the difference? What's the difference between an athlete at Iowa gambling on some a football game between LSU and Alabama and a regular student? Like the NCAA athletes can't play. They always make the announcement every March. You can't play the March Madness pools. Like every other college kid in America is doing it. Why can't we? It's freaking dumb. So it's so dumb. So I'm gonna start raging. NCAA.
yeah, I wouldn't die. I mean, this isn't an argument I'm going to die in the sword for. I'm not going to burn one of my. I'm right on this one, but I can just see why that could lend itself to.
Why? You haven't given me any good evidence.
I mean,
No,
hold on, Ben.
It's just a gut
It has
feeling.
literally happened. There have been gambling scandals and point shaving scandals
It's happening right now.
with college athletes. That's happened.
Alabama and LSU
I
for the
said
coach.
your own events or your own schools or your own sports. I could see all those parameters, but just a broad blanket, you can't gamble on anything. It's ridiculous.
I don't even think they should have the internet. Some bad stuff out there.
Can you?
There really is.
Is it just sports
Let's cut
betting?
it off.
Yeah.
Or is it gambling? Is it all gambling, or is it just sports betting?
You gotta be able to bet
I
the
don't-
ponies.
I don't think it can be
Well,
all gambling.
betting the ponies
'cause
is sports
obviously
betting, I think.
someone could show up to Vegas and just.
I won $100 on 2 fills this last Saturday.
There you go.
What does that mean?
I was a half a second. I was a half a second from winning about $1,000. But
Shane, I can't. This is going to lead down a bad road for you.
Yeah.
From producer Tyler, college athletes can bet on horse racing where it's legal and gamble casinos if they are of legal age. But NCAA rules against legal wagering are stricter than most professional leagues.
so they can gamble on the horse race and gamble at casinos.
Yeah.
If
so
they
why
are in a
can't they
place
gamble
where
on
it's
other
legal.
stuff? Stupid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it was originally put into effect at a time when gambling laws were more strict across everything, and kind of to what Shane is saying, the idea behind it was it's a slippery slope. If you let them bet, do you let them bet on, a different sports team within their school? And instead they just said no sports betting. I think it is silly, like you, Ben, but I can see why it was put in place originally,
Okay.
especially so many years ago when gambling
Man.
laws were much stricter.
The
as a
broader
whole.
point here
I
being
think-
Iowa and
I-
Iowa State wrestlers are implicated.
Are you sure?
It's
Yes,
in the AP.
It says names?
no.
names, but the wrestling teams they list the sports of that have athletes involved, and wrestling is on both Iowa and Iowa State.
I did that. I did that casino. There was an appearance at a casino that paid pretty well that I did in. It was actually Big Ten weekend because I was watching the Big Ten at this casino while the UFC and everything else was going on.
Degenerate.
And they don't allow gambling on wrestling. And I asked the guy running the casino, like, why are the sportsbook? Why not? And he said it would be too easy. And I wish we could gamble on wrestling because I think I would have an advantage over the house. I wish. I would love it. It'd be so great. But their take was that it would be easier to pay off a singular athlete to get an outcome that you want in wrestling than in basketball or football or a team sport.
Interesting.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know when it'll come out, if it'll ever come out, if there'll be any repercussions. If Iowa isn't, and by Iowa I mean like the state is investigating it, you have to figure that they did it for a reason, right? It's not some random thing. Like they sought out to bust the institutions, the kids.
Maybe they were just
So the
bored.
DCI
They had nothing to do.
The DCI was
crimes in
cracking
Iowa.
down on underage gambling from like 18 to 21-year-olds because you have to be, I think, 21 to sports bet in Iowa. I might be wrong
Also
on that, but I
dumb.
think, yeah, I think not even sports betting, all gambling, you have to be 21 in Iowa. So they were cracking down on that, and they discovered several student athletes
Yeah.
through their investigation. So it wasn't we're seeking out athletic departments gambling. It was started as an underage investigation.
I think this is the perfect lead into Vision Quest, if you guys don't mind. Can I
Let's
have a
go.
lead in here?
Lead it in. Let's go. I'm ready.
So we're talking about these old fuddy-duddies banning gambling and acting how the world was so wholesome back in the day. But these 80s movies,
Bro.
I mean, in the first scene, he gets his junk grabbed. He's talking to the English teacher about hooking up with this young chick. They're in the bar together. It's like, are there any rules back then? Were there any rules? Or could you just do whatever you want? He almost rapes the chick. He takes her down onto the bed. Like, that's almost rape. What are we doing here?
Bro, it was so rapey. I had
It
no
was so
memory of
rapey.
that. It's like, first of all, he basically angrily shoves her down on the bed. Okay.
And gets on top of her.
Then he talks about, first of all, and also, can we talk about the room service Tai Chi guy and
That's
his
what I'm saying.
intentions?
That's the first scene. He grabs his junk.
How is he? Okay. But
And
just,
Christian, the guy, and then he starts doing push-ups in the hallway. Like, I didn't just get my junk grabbed by a guy in a hotel room. I'm just gonna keep repping.
like, Loudon is just a simple guy. I mean, the guy goes in there, he's delivering room service. You open the door, the man's doing Tai Chi. That is your first sign. You have got to drop the food and leave. He ends up
I'm
in
outta
there and
here.
he's showing me the exercise. 800 million Chinese can't be wrong. And next thing you know, they're almost dirty dancing. And he's got to get out of there, but not before he rips out 20 push-ups waiting for the elevator.
Yeah, do
It's
some
what?
push-ups. Yeah.
And then,
But it's like, no, he didn't think to tell any of his superiors, like, hey, the guy in 819 tried, because then in the scene right after, he's like, yeah, this guy almost grabbed my junk. Well, actually, if I'm honest, he really did grab it.
he really
What?
did grab it. And I love the short order cook guy. He just randomly is like, all right, it's time to arm wrestle. We just do this.
Yeah.
We just do.
Oh, that's the man. That's one of the best characters, Elmo. Great
Okay,
character.
I never knew his name, but I like when he's getting the lemon pies ready. He just straight up, this is a health department violation. He licks the whipped cream off his fingers and hands the pie over. And then he talks about how he could have lost his, virginity.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is not a very family friendly episode because this movie is just it's kind of brutal.
Best.
Yeah, I don't think it's the best. This is not the best advice. Then he talks about, I don't even want to say it. It's so bad about how he could have lost his virginity. I'll just leave it at that. It's terrible.
Yes. Oh, that scene was
harrowing.
What? Why did anyone think this was okay to put in a movie? Like,
In the
why
tent?
was that? Why was it able to come out of their mouths?
Yeah, five of his friends and someone else. This is Shane's favorite movie. Can you believe it? This is. I can't even think of the word.
I almost puked in that scene, Christian.
That was bad.
I
was
almost
bad.
puked in my mouth. So, like, hey, why are we acting like, oh, this is a good old era when no one could do anything wrong and no one could do any gambling and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, I watched Vision Quest and I know what happened during the 80s and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
And how about this dad?
1985. Oh,
How about
man.
his father?
Stop saying with that look. He might have been one of the guys in the scene that we're grossed out by with that look on his face.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So I'm gonna try. I don't know why. I don't want to keep it on the rails, really. But one of the weird things. So there's this vagrant woman who has nothing, and Loudon just sells the dad on, hey, why don't we help her out? And the dad doesn't even think for a second. He's like, hey, maybe he's trying to, plow this young lady. It doesn't even occur to her.
That's obviously what he's trying to do.
Occur to the old man. He's like, I guess we'll help her.
Okay.
Give her a hand.
But Christian, can I point something else out?
Point it.
This young woman was going from New Jersey to San Francisco.
And she's in Spokane, Washington.
Why is she in Spokane, Washington?
I mean, I know this is pre-MapQuest.
I never thought of that.
Bad.
That's funny. That's right.
There's so many holes in this story. Why is she in Spokane? And also, you don't have to say where she's. You didn't have to say she's from New Jersey. You could have said she's from anywhere and just put it on the path through Spokane, and it would have been fine. But you had to choose 2 points, and there's no reason for her to end up in Spokane, Washington. But there she was.
Oh my God, there really isn't.
Yeah,
that was weird.
They didn't have MapQuest in 1985, though. So
yeah, but they did have maps.
Mistakes with the map.
It's so far out of the way. Spokane is like 10 hours north of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's quite a detour. Quite a detour. Okay, so Loudon Swain. If you haven't seen Vision Quest, you're gonna hate this. And you probably won't.
If you haven't
watch
seen
it.
Vision Quest, you're not a wrestling fan. If you haven't seen Vision Quest, you're not a wrestling fan.
You're also not a fan of sexual abuse if you haven't seen Vision Quest.
Yeah.
What?
You call yourself a fan of sexual abuse and haven't watched Vision Quest? Okay.
It's so bad. Oh
it's
my
not
God.
good. This is not the best. This is not the best movie. I'm sorry. And it was apparently based on a novel, and it's 30% rapey, 30% lateral drops, 10% holes in the plot. That's basically it. I don't even know if that added
There
up
was
to
no
100.
penetration steps anywhere in the
No.
movie.
There's
Zero.
only one. It's when after he makes weight, he like hits one in his like. There's randomly spotlight in the wrestling room. There's no lights on, but there's a spotlight where he jumps rope in, and he does a little penetration step.
Oh my God.
Cody Peddler says, "Bunch of yuppies." It was a different time. Was it? This is Shane Sparks' favorite era of all time.
It was. Yeah,
Boys will be boys.
I can't condone everything in the movie by any stretch, but it was just such a good. I don't know that. I think a lot of this stuff is just how old you were. Like I was 9 years old when I saw it.
You watched this at 9?
So I think I told you guys this last week. That night, I remember this. It was a Saturday night. I got one brother. My mom, my dad, my brother, and I are watching 2 movies that night. Now, this is funny because you can't. These are extremes. We started with Ole Yeller. We watch Ole Yeller, the wholesome movie with the dog, and then we go to Vision Quest. But I got to be honest. I mean, I watched it at 9 years old, and it didn't. I think. The reality at 9 was I didn't even understand half of it, but the wrestling part of this movie stuck with me forever. It really did. I mean, it really did. Call me crazy, but that movie, I love it. It's my favorite movie. I mean, if you guys are looking to get into some of my accounts,
it's not your favorite movie. Shane, we're live. You did not just say it's your favorite movie. It can't be.
It's up there.
I
really like
the password on his account.
Yeah, I love the movie Vision Quest.
Is getting hacked today. For God's sakes, what are you doing, Shane?
I hope this is AI generated, Shane.
I love it.
All right, can I tell you another one of my favorite parts?
Yeah.
How about when the coach brings him in? And he says, if you're in the disadvantaged position, did you guys catch that?
Yes.
He said, if you're in the disadvantaged position, and they don't even do a breakdown. They just say, just you're on your belly. They didn't break you down. They just put you on your belly. And they do a double chicken wing. And then the counter is to roll through, I guess. And then
I have the funniest story about this. Ben.
This is Caleb's favorite move.
No, Caleb has not watched Vision Quest, nor will he for some time. So I had a kid. So we were at this tournament, and a guy tries to double armbar my guy, and it was way too easy. I was like, Nick, why are you letting him? And then, just my internal thinking. And then as soon as the guy starts to run it, the counter that's shown in Vision Quest is this sit-up thing. And then you put the guy on his back. And I was like, Nick, where did you learn that? He's like, I watched Vision Quest. I learned it. He learned it watching Vision Quest, and he hit it in a tournament on a guy. I swear. That was the Buffalo Gap technique wave. Watch Vision Quest.
Oh my god!
I
Wow.
felt like I had let the kid down, but it worked. Yeah, Scott Ruska. Who told you that? Vision Quest told him to sit up when that happened. Yeah, so that's a funny thing. How about the coach is just like, man, it is not safe. You cannot cut down to 168. It's not good, man. It's not blah blah blah. Other thing. So Loudon just goes out there. He does one little crab walk thing, climbs the pegboard, and they're like, fine. Coach is like, all right, you proved me wrong.
Great scene.
You can cut
Great
down to
scene.
160. What do the two have to do with each other?
It didn't make
He's
any
like,
sense, Shane.
You're gonna
Doesn't
die
make
cutting
any
weight
sense at all.
You're gonna.
It's
Do you,
the great. It's the movies, guys. It's the movies. And in that, I love what he does. I love what he's doing the pegboard. And Otto's one of the more underrated characters in this movie. When he's like, "You got this, Loudon," and he's like buddies with Otto. One of the great scenes with Otto was in the cafeteria, where they're like eating lunch.
yeah.
And somebody comes on in the cafeteria like, our man, Loudon Swain, wants to cut down to wrestle shoot. And then Otto said something to him like, if I knew Coach wouldn't kick me off the team, I'd kick your ass and say shoot to satisfaction or something like that. It's a great, and then he goes, you punk. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. That movie is so good.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
You know, one of the things that, and I've had some wrestlers at the academy,
No.
and
He says. No, you messed up the quote, and I actually wrote this quote down. He says he said he'd beat up Loudon if Coach wouldn't fire him. Fire him? Does he work for that? Like what? If you kick someone off the team, who says you're fired?
Is that what he says though, Christian? Does he go, you punk? Is that how he ends
I
it?
don't know if he says that, but he verbatim says that the coach would fire him.
fire him.
He would be terminated.
Oh man.
I don't know if you guys ever heard wrestlers like this or had them on your team, but like how Loudon feels the need to tell everyone that he's cutting a lot of weight and he can't do anything. Like, just Loudon, keep it to yourself. Like, not everyone needs to hear your whole story about how you have this vision question, you're cutting weight, but he seems the need to tell every single person about it that he comes across.
Yeah, he wants
It's annoying.
to know. So the dad lets a vagrant move in with his preposterously horny 18-year-old son.
I don't know about that. That's about how all 18-year-old boys are, Christian.
That's probably true. That's also true. But he
Yeah.
talks of yeah. I mean, he talked about nocturnal emissions, and he like casually just he's like, the
I
best.
actually don't remember
He
that.
said the best part of cutting weight is the nocturnal emissions. He said that is a quote in this movie. In Shane Sparks' favorite movie, he said, and JD was sitting right next to
I
me.
must have went to grab something during that because I didn't hear that.
It's when he's in the truck driving to the granddad's with Carla. He says, the best part of cutting weight is the nocturnal emissions.
Oh, I went and got something during that part.
You got
I wasn't
something.
listening.
Yeah. Well, that was said.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. There's so many wows.
I mean, do we need to re-rate this movie? Do we need to rate this movie like NC-17 or something?
It's bad.
Because it kind of feels like it.
It's bad.
it's rated R, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
It's got to be. There's no way it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Cooch invites him over for a beer. The motorcycle guy who's about 25 years old in high school. And
How old is Shoot, though?
Shoot is also 20. Well, I don't know how Shoot was 25 when this movie came out, and Matthew Modine was 26 when this movie came out. So
Okay.
Oh my
super
God.
high school age. But then Loudon says, well, my dad doesn't let him drink, but they do let a 20-year-old vagrant stay with him. So I thought that sort of how that aligns doesn't make a
You
lot
wanna
of
know
sense.
what the funny
go to
part,
bar,
guys, is?
too. The high school kids were at the bar.
They're at the
Yeah,
bar,
that's-
just chilling. This is
With
this is
Tanneran,
Shane's
the
favorite
teacher.
era.
What a scene that is too when he walks past and he sees Tanneran and Carla together.
Oh man, that was rough for him. He was very relieved to find out they were.
He
Not,
was not happy.
What did he said? He said, "I'm thanking you for not sticking it to her." He said that
Yeah.
to his English teacher. What?
Thanks for not sticking it to her. Appreciate it.
Oh man.
I like when they're
Shit,
dancing at the
it's
bar.
So bad.
I like when they're dancing. Loudon's dancing with Carla at the bar, and they're just basically like this. And Carla goes, "Not a half bad dancer." Like he's literally just like this. They're not. I don't even know if it's classified.
She didn't
as
say
dancing.
great.
Guys, I gotta throw this in there real quick because you
Toss
guys
it.
are a little younger. When this movie first came out, when it was on like beta tape or whatever,
Mhm.
the words didn't go at the mouth. You know what I mean?
What?
I mean,
Oh.
yes. True story. Yeah, when this thing first came out, at least for me, when I rented it, the words didn't go like at the end of it when she's like, "Hey, Loudon, kick his ass." Like the words, the mouth does not go with the words.
Oh my
Wow.
God! Wait, Walker Valley Wrestling. Thank you. How about when he gets caught sniffing her underwear?
It's
What?
depraved is the word. This movie is
At that
totally
point-
depraved.
At that point, don't you think the vagrant would be like, "Oh man, this guy's kind of creepy. I am freaking out of here. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I got no home because I'm a vagrant, but I am sure leaving here."
This is the thing.
Sniffing
This
my
is the thing
underwear.
about
I'm going to
vagrants.
Cooch's house.
The vagrants are they just have low standards. That's just what it is. This is par for the course
Yeah.
for any other vagrant.
She was a
So-
good artist, though. Good artist.
I
Oh,
love
yeah,
how
she
we're
starts-
Through his night.
She has
tearing
these
us apart,
aspirations
and
drawn.
Shane's still favorite movie ever.
It's. Let me say this. It's not. I wouldn't say maybe it's. Well, it might be. I love it. I love this movie. I love it.
Man,
I love it.
Roadhouse is such a better movie than this movie.
Yeah.
Oh no way.
Max
no, but I
Askren-
love Roadhouse too.
Max Askren in absolute shambles after all these firemen's carries. It was a fireman's and lateral drops. You would think they're the
That's it.
only moves in wrestling. How about I don't even want to say it, but the newspaper article that they ran in the school paper about female anatomy. Do you remember this, Ben?
Oh yeah.
His friend. Yeah, his friend
Depraved.
wrote the article, right? That
I
one
thought
girl
these
that
were
kinda
wholesome
liked him.
times. These were not wholesome times, my
Wholesome,
friend.
not
They were
wholesome.
great times. It was just such a good time. Mid 80s were such a great time.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
Season's so
I'm going to
hard.
tell you this, guys. The mid 80s and the mid 90s, way better than it is now.
Maybe
This
the
stuff,
90s. Maybe the
I mean,
90s.
early 90s. I mean, 85 to 95, the best 10-year window, 84 to 94
No,
for me.
man.
Stop. You are
Yes.
crazy. You are so
84 to
crazy.
94 was, it will, I know
Shane.
right now at 47 years old,
Take it back, Shane.
I
Sparks.
will never get another 10-year window like 84 to 94. It's not happening.
I can't
not
believe
gonna
you think your
happen for me.
teenage years were the best. The time when you were a
Dang,
teenager.
they weren't for me. This has been the best time. Okay.
God.
All right, we hit on the
Wow.
nocturnal emissions, obviously.
Guys, I got to
Okay.
throw this story in here quick before I forget. So Shoot's letter jacket. I love that letter jacket. From where'd he go? Hoover High? Was it Hoover?
High.
Hoover. It was
Yeah.
Okay.
Hoover Yellow.
So I stay in touch with Frank from time to time. Years back, I wanted to know if he still had that letter jacket. And he told me somebody stole it at the gym.
Oh, wait, he actually wore it to the gym? For
He
real?
must have. He told me, if I remember right, he told me he got stolen at a gym. I remember. But
He
I would
probably-
love to know. Like, where is Loudon's rubber suit these days? I'd like to know where.
How about he just wears his plastics everywhere
On the
Everywhere.
in the
outside.
movie, literally.
He's very much, he wants you to ask about it. He's very into
Yeah.
the idea that I'm doing this. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
this? You mean this shiny silver suit? Well, let me tell you all about it.
Seriously.
So he lost a match because he bled twice, which was interesting. Like what?
It was like only 30 seconds.
30 seconds. He barely bled. It's just a little
Well,
blood.
the funny part about that, guys, too, is I was telling Christian before we went on air. The funny part about that is you got a packed house. The bands are there. The cheerleaders, packed house. Loudon is at 168 or at that time 178, whatever he was at. A
Mhm.
couple bloody noses, and the duel meet's over. Not
It's
only
over.
was his match over, the whole duel was done. Like,
Done.
oh, sorry guys, we're done. Duel meet was over.
Yeah, that's a
That
That
wrap.
was the one part. Yeah, that part I was like, that was one part. Looking back on it, as I knew more about wrestling, I'm like, okay, that
That
didn't
was really
make any
weird.
sense.
Hey, Shane, you're getting a lot of requests in the chat to talk about the soundtrack.
Man.
That soundtrack is so good. Like, only the young starting the movie out sets the table. I mean, that's a top 5 song for me all time. Only the young Journey.
Stop.
And I
Okay.
no, listen. Now listen to this, guys. So I've seen Journey in concert.
Only
I've
the
seen Journey in
young?
concert 3 or 4 times. They never played it. Probably the first 3 times I've seen them in
Freaking
concert.
low lives.
Last year, week before NCA's in Detroit, I went and saw Journey and Toto. Toto
wow.
was so good. Journey was awesome too, but Toto was so good. But anyways, they played Only the Young, and it was. Oh, I can still feel it going through my body. But I live in Oshkosh. John Waite was in Oshkosh last week. I didn't go and see him.
Who's John Waite?
John Waite's Change. I can't sing, but that's a song in Vision Quest. God, there's just so many. That soundtrack it's fantastic. I mean, non-wrestling people will tell you. I mean, that's something that. You talk about the great movie soundtracks of all time. Vision Quest is usually in that mix.
No one said that.
No, it's not. That was
happened.
just made up
Are
just
you
now.
kidding?
Google it right now.
This is insane.
Movie soundtrack.
I'm telling you, it is.
It's not even going to be
Google
mentioned.
that soundtrack.
Top 10 greatest soundtracks. I'm Googling it.
Yeah, no
Vision
one
Quest, not in there.
no one considers it good.
That is
No.
not true. That is
That's not true. All right, 50
this
best
guy,
soundtracks. I'll see if it's in here.
Hot-blooded by Foreigner, Lunatic Fringe, Only the Young, Crazy for You, Madonna, I'll Fall in Love Again, Sammy Hagar. It says, I don't remember this one exactly, but She's on the Zoom, Don Henley. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah, Lunatic Fringe, Red Rider, Change, John Waite. Like, that's a pretty darn good. I mean, there's 5 songs on that list right there that are big time. Like,
Have you seen Lion King? Way better music.
I'm looking on the top 50, Shane, and I don't see it here.
If you don't have Vision Quest in your top 10 all-time soundtracks, you don't know music. Period.
You can't be
That's the
Shane's
fact.
friend.
Okay. There it is.
Man.
Oh, wait, Shane, hold on. Here it is. Vision Quest, the number 3 soundtrack of all time. I got it.
I told you. I wouldn't steer you wrong on this.
I just made that up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great. Only the Young. I mean, I remember, back when I was in high school. And again, I think
Wait,
that's
can you remind us what years you went to high school so we can place this?
was a freshman in the 90-91 school year.
Okay.
So 91, 92, 93, graduated in 94. And in those days, you had a Walkman for wrestling with a CD. It was I had the hype tape or the whatever it was. And the first song I had on there was AC/DC Thunderstruck.
Mm-hmm.
The second song I had on there was Only the Young by Journey. Like, that was part of that's why I just love it. It takes me back to being in high school, some of the stuff. When we'd our wrestling team would get together once a year as a team, we'd watch Vision Quest. And I went to a Lutheran high school, by the way. They even right now, I'm kind of like, but it was great. It was so here's the thing with this movie. And I remember this because our wrestling coach, I went to a Lutheran high school and so our wrestling coach has shown us the movie. And I remember him saying, like, basically, like, everything in here is not Christian. You just got to, just kind of go with take it for what it's worth. But, because there are some scenes in there that, I get it. They're not great, but,
yeah.
And then we'd get ready to do a dual meet. We'd have a dual meet. And the night before the dual meet, we would do the Vision Quest thing where we're beating the mats and all running around. It was just great. It was awesome. It was just great memories. Great memories.
Okay,
my wife did comment very early, Christian. This is why wrestling has such a bad name. Or had. She said had. And I think this is why wrestling had such a bad name.
Yeah.
I don't think she's wrong.
Yeah, it's
not weight cutting element. I mean, I would say it is what it is, though, right?
All right, here's a question, though. Was Shoot worried? He showed up at the dual meet. Was Loudon in his head a little bit. Why is Shoot at this dual meet? Watching him bleed out. Do you think Shoot was worried, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, they had to be a little bit, or maybe it was like a small town. It was boring and there was nothing else to do. And
the place was packed.
Celebrity. But so Loudon only wrestled for 2 years, although he did get one thing right, I think. There's the part where he's like, the Vagrant moves into his house. And he says something like, balance is the most important. It's more important than strength and speed or something like that.
I wrote that down. I wrote that down.
You actually got that right, Loudon. Like, nice work.
Yeah. Yeah, my notes here. I had that in there. Okay, so other questions. We talked about that. We talked about if he was scared. The granddad, fun fact, the granddad who he visits is the the scary old man from Home Alone.
Yeah, I picked that one up. Yep.
Great.
was that?
Now that's a top 5 movie.
Home Alone is great.
That's great. Do you know how much better Home Alone is than Vision Quest? And it's for children. It's so much better.
I saw Home Alone as a freshman in high school, right before Christmas in the theater. It was great. Yeah, that was a great movie.
Home Alone 2,
Wholesome movie.
One of the greater sequels too. I could not believe how this kid yelled at his mother, though. I was like, oh my gosh, I would just
at Home Alone,
be absolutely murdered.
Now.
Okay. So Loudon gets laid, and then immediately he's like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I'm done.
That seemed like kind of like real,
Sort of relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah,
real.
it's like, wait,
I got better things to do now.
I'm moving on.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I do that? I don't even get to eat.
Oh man.
Okay. So high school out of bounds eventually saves Loudon Swain's life because he gets bombed. Headlock out of bounds. Okay, so well, let's get into the scoring inconsistencies of the final showdown. So they're locked up ear to ear. They lock up ear to ear, and boom, head and arm, headlock, cowboy, whatever you call it. Shoot bombs him out of bounds. Okay, and they say no takedown out of bounds. They go back to center, and Loudon's down. They put him down, but no points.
Oh, they did?
Yes, they put him down, and then Shoot hits a chop, which Loudon was helpless against his chop on that right side.
The entire match.
The entire match. He's boom, just getting slammed on his left shoulder.
Well, he does the elbow hook the one time, doesn't he? To pop up, doesn't he like do a roll and elbow hook?
Yeah, they do a switch-re-switch drill for a period of time during this match, but we're not there yet. He gets chopped down, and then they give a takedown after he gets chopped on a mat return, which is probably why this is Shane's favorite movie, because he got 2 points for a mat return. So that didn't make sense. But they give him a takedown for that. It's like, why? They give a kind of quick near fall for Shoot, which makes you wonder if the fix is in. But then sure
You
enough,
would have thought the challenge brick would have came in at that point for sure.
you needed the brick. You needed the brick for sure. But then Loudon hits his patented lateral drop and ends up winning. Gets the pinfall right at the end, and that's how the movie basically ends.
You know what the best scene in this movie is, though? This scene
I'm
here
scared
is.
to know.
I'm not embarrassed to admit this scene will freaking choke me up usually. Like, this scene has made me tear up numerous times. When him and Elmo, when he goes to Elmo's house, and they have that exchange where Elmo's he's getting dressed up, and you know, it's the classic, and he's like, well, I don't know what the big deal is. It's just 6 minutes. And Elmo's like, talks about Pele.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a big soccer guy. I know Ben's not either. But when he goes to see another human being or whatever, if my species do something, it was pretty GD glorious. I thought, and then I liked how, because that relationship they had throughout the movie. And then when Elmo goes, that's why I went out and got a haircut and took the night off of work for the festivities tonight. Like, I thought that was so cool. Like, I thought that part of the movie, that is a great. It's not it ain't the 6 minutes. That's what you do in the 6 minutes. I just love it. I love
Elmo's
that
a real one. Elmo's a real one for sure. Good guy. Good arm
Elmo
wrestler.
died in 2004.
Oh, really?
I love that Shane knows like every character, their name, their real name.
The coach died.
When they died.
I mean, guys, I feel bad because Ben, props to Ben for wearing the Shoot shirt. My original plan, but I couldn't find it, was I was going to wear a collared shirt with a singlet. Oh
my gosh, that would have been so great.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Yeah,
we should have. What couldn't you find? Which aspect? You couldn't find a singlet?
A singlet. Yeah, I don't have a singlet laying around.
Man, I would have got one. Yeah, I would have found it.
I think I got one. I could have sent you a Buffalo Gap singlet. I think I got one
Ben
somewhere.
should have went Mohawk. Ben should have went Mohawk for Cooch.
Cooch was kind of a beast.
JD could have been Shoot, and Christian could have been Otto.
But the other thing I didn't really like about this is I felt like if he's got this vision quest, it should be to beat Shoot at state, not just in some random duel meet during the season. Like, they should have really led up to the state tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have wrestled and Shoot beats him the first time, and then he's going to get him back at state or something. That would have been a much better
he probably retired
storyline
after that duel.
Yeah.
I remember, I could be making this quote up, but I'm pretty sure Larry Owings said he didn't have the goal of winning NCAAs. His goal was to beat Dan Gable. And that's like all he thought about. So maybe there is something to it, like having that
Did
specific...
they steal this? Because Larry Owens was from Washington and Spokane's in Washington.
That's
Maybe
right.
they stole the plot.
The
Honestly-
Thompson High Warriors.
Honestly, you might be right. Maybe
Potential.
Loudon Larry Steele says Loudon went back up in weight he said I'm weight, but he meant in weight. You don't know that, Larry. It's just an assumption.
How would Larry know that?
He doesn't know.
The scene in the bathroom too with shoot. That's great too. You're
Can't
gonna
hold-
make the weight, or what do you say? He goes,
Can't
"You
hold your
can't
mud."
hold your mud."
I don't even know what that means.
and him holding the or carrying the log. I mean, that is freaking money. That
Yeah.
scene is fantastic.
I love that part where when Loudon goes, "Hey, shoot," and then Cooch goes, "Careful,
Do
Loudon."
I know you?
No. Cooch goes, "Careful, Loudon." Like he could
Yeah.
I don't know what they thought the shoot was about to do.
And that's where shoot goes. Do I know you?
God.
Loud and Swain, Thompson High.
Gonna make the weight? I don't know.
I hope so. I hope so too. Oh, it's so good.
That's good.
So funny.
That's a good one. All right. Any other
Oh.
Vision Quest stuff? JD's not saying much because he didn't do the homework. F
JD,
student.
you
I watched
let
the
us
last 30
down.
minutes with you.
He did watch lots. He heard the nocturnal emissions talk.
JD, what year were you born?
97.
Man, so you
It's
were
the greatest era in world history.
I
missed
know.
it. You just missed it, JD.
So close.
You just missed it.
Babe came out. Awesome. It's a talking pig.
I've been searching also all morning, literally while the show is going on. Somewhere, David Bray swore into the Rankers Guild on a VHS copy of Vision Quest. I believe it's on an episode of Who's Number One the Show, but I cannot find it. I
my
desperately
God. I
need
wonder
that
what you've been
screenshot.
watching. Every time I look over, it's like, who's number one this show? And everyone has different hair. JD's hair's buzzed. David's got the giant beard. It was very COVID-y. Yeah, I don't know when that was.
I can happily say I will probably never ever watch Vision Quest again.
Yeah,
Are
that's
you
it.
serious,
Never.
Ben?
Oh,
Hell
no.
no.
No,
This
I was
movie
wrong.
it's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The wrestling is terrible. It's emphasizing the worst aspects of wrestling, which is the weight cutting. And then it's all about this weird, there's like 7 episodes of weird sexual abuse. Like, I'm out.
You
Yeah.
should have to be
It's
there, Ben.
gross.
I will watch that movie, God willing, at least another 10 times.
Oh,
I would say. I just
How many times do you think you've seen it, Shane?
probably say about 50. If I had to guess, probably 50 times.
oh my
I'd say-
gosh.
That's so
Yeah.
many
You
hours.
memorized like
Almost
is the
3
joy of
days
watching
watching
it
Vision
anymore?
Quest.
And you weren't getting
It
Bird
just-
Box?
God, it's a weird. It just takes me back. There's just certain things about it that make me go back to being in high school, because I cut a ton of weight as a senior in high school, and that movie really, I just related to it. I wouldn't do it again. I definitely wouldn't do it again. But like just the simple scene, like the alarm clock going off at like 6 a.m. or whatever. Like I remember those. I remember the struggle. And I just remember it. That movie was in certain ways pretty inspiring to me when I was in high school. Like I wanted to win a state title. I was cutting some weight. Just a couple things like that. Going to school and yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
By Shane's estimation, he has watched Vision Quest for 3 days of his life,
72 and a half hours.
based on runtime. I
Yeah.
just
Man, I had one brother, him and I watched that movie. Him and I probably seen it together 10 times, him and I. So my brother and I are always shooting off Vision Quest lines. Always.
boy.
I can't believe you guys. So you Ben, you don't think you'll ever watch it again? Christian,
Hell
JD,
no.
what are you thinking?
It's not
No
a good
way.
movie. Not a good movie.
I can't believe we
Gosh,
spent
I
30
can't
minutes
believe this
talking
is
about
happening.
it.
I literally don't think it's good. It's just not a good, the plot is not.
It's an
all that-
iconic. Like let me
It
let
is
me
not
say this, guys.
iconic.
Let me say this. If you
Not
take
iconic.
if you take sports over the last 40 years, like sports movies, a lot of sports have a lot of movies, right? There's a lot of basketball movies, a lot of and I know there's not a lot of wrestling movies out there, but I mean, that's wrestling's movie. I mean, nothing's been close to it, right? I guess I would say that. Has there ever been another wrestling movie that's even close? I think there's Win-Win was good. I think that one I liked. I've only seen it a couple times, but it's like that's what we had, It wasn't like there was a wrestling movie coming out every couple years.
Yeah.
I'm not selling you guys, am I?
No,
you
it's
guys
far
should become
inferior to
Mark Bader.
Foxcatcher.
Put Mark Bader in charge of making a better movie than Vision Quest. It can't be all that hard.
Yeah.
I think he can handle it.
I don't know. I know Anthony Robles has a movie coming out, so we'll see.
Oh, there we go.
You know, that could be really good. I think it'll be
J-Lo.
really good.
Oh boy, let's get Shane going on about J-Lo. You know J-Lo's gonna be in that movie, Shane. What do you think about young Jennifer?
Guys, I'll let you
Jenny
down a
from
little,
the block.
I'll let you down a little secret.
Shane Sparks is in the movie.
Talks are underway, and it looks like I'm going to be in there, but it's not official yet.
Wow.
Hey,
No.
let's go.
So I'm sure it'll be many scenes with J-Lo and myself. So,
Yeah, you think
looking
you'll probably be the
forward
love interest? Are you gonna be the father figure for Anthony? Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, yeah, that is pretty cool though, because Affleck and Damon, that first movie they did was Air, which I went and saw in the theater a couple weeks ago, which is phenomenal. It is so good on the Michael Jordan shoe deal, and then now this is the second one. So I mean, I think it's going to be really good.
Is there any movie that takes place mid 80s to mid 90s that you wouldn't think is so good?
Man, I'll give you a few. I'll give just off the top of my head. I'll give you another one. Just One of the Guys. That one is very funny. These are all mid 80s. Trying to give you some I don't know if I'd say obscure, but just, you know, that movie was phenomenal. I mean, Risky Business with Tom Cruise is good. And there's so many classics.
Can you ask for which movies weren't good?
Yeah, there's not many bad movies. I can't. I'm trying to think of movies.
They
I saw
actually
in the
didn't
80s.
make bad movies in the 80s.
That was
I'm
one
trying
of
to
those
think
big
of a movie
things.
that I saw in the mid 80s that I didn't like.
Okay.
I'll give you one.
Oh my god!
I was
Shane,
never a big
Shane,
Indiana
you're such
Jones
a legend. You would just say the wildest things of all time, like every single show.
Indiana Jones, I wasn't big on, and I'll give you another thing I don't watch: Star Wars. Never. Harry Potter.
Dumb.
Never.
Don't know why people like it.
Never. Star Wars, Harry Potter, not ever
None of that
happening.
nerd stuff.
Ever.
So I watched Star Wars as a kid and thought it was great, and then Katie had never seen it. I'd be like, Katie, you gotta watch
terrible.
Star Wars. And then I put it on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Katie. This is not good.
See, all you had to do was watch Vision Quest in 1985 and you would love it.
Yeah, maybe that was it. I don't know. There's no scenario I would have liked that movie. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, VQ stands, but it's just
We're all gonna get together and watch Vision Quest over at my place.
we're
the
not.
popcorn.
We're
Oh
not.
yeah.
I would.
Man, I'm
we
coming
should.
down to your place.
We need another
We'll find
movie.
an
I need a
excuse.
palate cleansing movie, something that's like just like good classic '80s. I'm thinking.
Guys,
Wholesome.
I'll give you
Something
one.
A little more wholesome.
Listen
No,
to this, guys. This last Tuesday, I went to now I'm gonna butcher the name, but you'll know what I'm talking about. It's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. You talk about a wholesome, cute movie.
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
It's fantastic. I just went and saw it this
you guys
week.
know what he's talking about?
No.
I have no clue.
It's so good. I'm sure there's. If you guys want a movie, it is
All
so good. It's on a girl in 6th grade.
What's it called, Shane?
It's
He
called
just did. He just did.
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. It is a
that's the
cute
title?
movie. It is so cute. It's a really cute movie. It's on a girl's 6th grade year of middle school, and it is so funny. Because whether you're a boy or you're a girl, 6th grade is epic. I mean, 6th grade is everybody's awkward, everybody's changing.
The
It's
best
just
grade.
so good.
Some may say the most awesome grade of all your grades.
Terrific.
6th
Gotta
grade
go.
was fantastic.
Legendary grade.
Go see it.
No.
It was my girlfriend Lori picked the movie, and I'm like, fine, I'll go. And it was one of those movies I had very low expectations, kind of taking one for the team, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was so good. I mean, there's one scene in there. So sixth grade.
I just.
We gotta go. Shane.
Give me this one. So
Shane,
there's
stop.
one
We
scene
gotta
in there.
go.
The guy throwing the party's kind of like this nerdy kid, and he goes, he looks at all his 6th grade classmates at his party, and he goes, "All right, he's something effective like the snacks are over. Now it's time to play games. and the next shot is a bottle spinning, and they play Spin the Bottle. It is priceless. And I remember first time I ever played Spin the Bottle, sixth
Tyler.
grade Halloween.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler.
All right, guys, have a great day. Have a great day.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, audience.
I'm sorry. All I can say is I'm sorry. I don't know if that's good
Go.
enough. I apologize. We
I'm
did
telling
it.
you, go see the movie.
We should have expected it. Vision Quest went hard. We'll never watch it again. Shane will watch it tonight. We'll be back on Monday, which is World Team Trials Week.
Monday
Oh.
and Wednesday next week, not Thursday.
Monday, Wednesday next week. Thank you, Ben. Programming Ben Askren. Tyler's been at war with this television the whole show. It's
going
flicked on and off.
It's annoying. It's annoying me.
Yeah, well, sorry, Ben. We just love it. It's a new thing we're trying. We're just trying this thing where we cut off TVs every 14 seconds. People love it. All right, guys. Hold your mud. We'll see you
Hold
Monday. Goodbye.
See you guys later.
Bye.